The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade. Welcome to the Unfiltered by Jade, where we get out of the box and dive into topics that are sidelined. I look forward to entertain, educate, and inspire. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records.
Shopping assistance, your style, your budget. Our services include online and local shopping for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, and helping you find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195 or shoppingassistance2015@gmail.com. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget. Welcome back to the Unfiltered by Jade. Today we have with us a special person. Her name is Davika Latoya, and we're here to talk about heartbreak. And this is an interesting topic as many of us have gone through heartbreaks before. And she's here to give us answers about it and how to find love again. That's if it is that we want to seek love again after the heartbreak. So Davika is a family and relationship coach for Kingdom Woman. Hi, Davika.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
No problem. How are you?
Not too bad after everything, but yeah, we're good.
Yes, we're good. We're good now. So I want us to jump into the topic. We're talking about heartbreak. Is there really someone out there for me? So before we even find out that part, what does it mean to have a heartbreak?
Right. That is the big question, I guess, right now. Heartbreak is both a mental, a physical, an emotional, a spiritual separation from what you were once experiencing. It actually takes access to all the parts of our bodies. Anytime you think about separation, it's that severing of ties, right?
Mhm.
And so you feel it in your body. You know, for some people, they have the signs and the symptoms of heartbreak to where, you know, they feel rejected, they feel grief, they feel shame. They may feel that withdrawal. They may feel that they are less than. They may feel disconnected and disassociated from their community, from God, from their family. So heartbreak is a multifaceted and it's a complex thing that we all experience. It doesn't just reside in the heart, but it actually takes place in all of the areas of our lives.
It affects everything.
Yes.
Because when people are going through heartbreak, sometimes they don't want to bathe. They don't want to go to work.
Yes.
We don't want to eat.
Oh, the symptoms are real. The symptoms are real.
Oh, we just want to stay in bed and sleep. We don't want to
Oh,
do nothing.
absolutely. Yeah, because you just feel so disassociated with your world right now. It looks different than what you've been used to for so long. So it's appropriate to feel that disconnect and that you want to curl up and kind of hide away and wait until everything settles.
Right.
But that's a myth. Nothing settles. Heartbreak is something that you have to first do internally before your environment starts to change.
How does one overcome a heartbreak?
Ooh, well, this is the fun part, right? And I say fun being gone through like the stages, but it is a journey. So you could look at heartbreak from a different perspective and say, okay, this is an opportunity that I get to now reintroduce myself to myself. And it's going to start with going to therapy, right? Kind of reclaiming your identity. What do you like from what don't you like? Taking on new adventures. Really having a net of circle of friends that are around you to be that anchor, that support system for you. Yeah, it's an invitation to back to God, because He always meets us, in these most vulnerable areas, because He's got the answer to everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of say that's easier said than done, because
It,
sometimes when people are going through heartbreaks, that's when they turn away from God, because
absolutely.
this is the person who I've invested in and know they have broken my heart, and how could you have allowed this to happen, and why me, and why am I going through this? So I mean, God has the answers, and He has all the answers, and specifically for kingdom women also.
Hmm.
We should trust in Him to take us through the process, but realistically, do we do so?
Right. And so that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book.
Mhm.
I wrote a book called Becoming Her: A Journey from Heartbreak, because I had to go through it. I didn't know where to look. I didn't know what appropriate was. You see on the TV, the movies, the music videos, your community, and people going into rage, right? And that's not really my character. To go into rage and to throw the clothes out the house, or
Burn it.
right, exactly. So I had to now navigate, and so one of the first things that I did, I went to the doctor. I went to every
Mhm.
single doctor. I went to every single expert that I could. Because one thing that I did know is that trauma and pain does manifest within your body, right?
Yes.
And so I went to a physiotherapist. I went to my family doctor. I went to a personal trainer, to a nutritionist, so that they can give me answers, and then a remedy or a strategy, or put me on a plan, so that as I'm going through, I'm not causing further harm to my body by neglecting it, right? Some people turn to alcohol and drugs, or they become more promiscuous, but the research shows that it actually takes our body anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to fully detox and recover from having that person within our physical space.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And I've never heard someone go to all these doctors to help manage what they're going through after a heartbreak. I've never heard that before. I know
Yeah.
about therapy,
Yeah.
but after my heartbreak, I didn't go to um, anybody else than a therapist to talk
Oh,
about my problems. I didn't.
oh, it's
So
huge. Yeah. Like even the dentist, you know?
what?
Yes, absolutely. Because um you could grind your teeth.
Hmm.
And so the signs of stress shows up in multiple places of our body. Some people will lose their hair, right? Their skin will start to change. They may get inflammation with it, like on their shoulders or in their hips or on their legs. So the symptoms of heartbreak exhibits within our body. Um, and, going to specialist or to other doctors or professionals, um, was one way for me to cope and manage, because I didn't have to think on my own.
Hmm. Okay.
I had a plan done for me, and all I had to do was do the steps. And that recovery part gets difficult because our minds is flooded with the memories, right? With the reoccurrence of the last conversations that we had, the last text messages, right? That last fight. And we start to play investigator in our minds as well.
Mm-hmm.
So having a team around me of professionals, they were able to give me a plan which minimized the amount of cortisol now that's flooding my body, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Right? And so that kind of escalated um, the healing process for me on a physical level.
Hmm. So, okay. So growing up, I've seen persons go through heartbreaks. And what I've seen is what I've made my decision based on in terms of I've seen people have stroke because of a heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people literally lose it because of a heartbreak. And I have made a decision never to go down that road. So it leads to my next question. If heartbreaks are harder based on emotional or physical connections,
Mm-hmm.
because my understanding is yes, when you're in a relationship, you want to invest everything that you have, your mind, your soul, your body, everything. But if that person leaves, it's almost as if they're leaving with a piece of you and you can't function again. So when I hear people say, "Oh, this person is the better half of me," I don't believe in it. We're two wholes coming together and we're contributing to make each other better.
That's
So
right.
if it is that you leave, I can still function. Yes, I'm gonna cry. I'm probably gonna take a month and cry,
Mm-hmm.
but afterwards I'm gonna get back up. That's just how I see it, because my happiness and my I was never dependent on you to fulfill me as a person. That's how I see it. So is heartbreaks really harder based on or emotional or physical connections with a person?
If it's harder based on emotional or physical connections, that's
Hmm.
that's a big question. But first, I just want to acknowledge just what you said
Mhm.
is self awareness, right? Self awareness, because you have already had it in your mind that you're not going to go that path,
Right,
right? The path that you saw. And so I think that is the first place, because everyone's journey looks different.
right.
The more self aware you are, it's not the better your recovery would be or the
Okay.
less intense of your heartbreak. It will just allow for you to walk this journey because you got to walk heartbreak through. You can't skip it.
Right,
You got to go through it. And so it actually would bring now clarity as you walk through it because there is a destination, there is a vision, there is a goal. And that is to get back to your self, to your true self,
right.
right? Um, but I would say that for women, we're hardwired more so through that emotional, right? We connect emotionally. Um, and so that would be the first place when that heartbreak comes, it's going to hit us emotionally.
Right.
And that would be, I would say, probably the longest route of your journey is to go through the emotional um, healing.
Hmm.
Yeah. So having a therapist, a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist, or even a coach just kind of working through that emotional piece. Because the emotion, it connects all parts of us. Um, it's our attachment styles,
Right,
right? It's also the way that we see the world through our filter.
right.
Um, did you have were you predisposed to trauma? Because sometimes what
Okay,
happens
okay.
in one relationship, it's amplified because you've had history of, let's say of mistrust.
Okay, okay. Understood.
right? So that you got to walk all the way backwards kind of to childhood when it comes to that emotional piece. The physical piece, I would say it's a little bit it's maybe not as long of a process,
Okay.
if I answered your question
Yeah,
correctly.
you answered. You answered. Why that question or why that piece was asked where physical is because people do believe that once they have a physical connection with someone, it's harder to leave
Mm-hmm.
than emotional because some people really don't invest emotionally. They invest physically into something.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, so I do like what you said there. So, although someone may think that they didn't invest emotionally,
mhm.
that's still something to address. That's
Okay.
a problem, right? That is a huge problem. So,
I
it's still a
yeah.
matter, right? So, yes, you may believe that, okay, well, I didn't give this person all of me, so I'm okay. It's just that fit. No, it all goes hand in hand. It goes
Yeah.
hand in hand, yeah. Um, why don't you connect?
Because then why don't you connect? I think people don't because they're afraid to get hurt. Because remember, emotionally investing in someone means being vulnerable. It means being willing to be hurt that way. And it's not being hurt purposefully. But in
Mhm.
all relationships, we're gonna get hurt at some point. And some people run away from that aspect, and especially going back to what you said before, previously they may have had a PTSD in our
Mhm.
other relationship. And because of that, they decided, I'm not going to invest emotionally in this. We're just going to be physical. And I'm going to invest all my, exercising there. And then just to use it. And then I'm not going to do anything else. But then that aspect also get tied up.
Oh my god, that is a huge problem. Seriously, that is a huge because how then are you going to ever feel secure in a relationship? So you may not amplify the good side of that emotional connection, but
Mhm.
you're amplifying the negative side. That means you're going to struggle
Mhm.
being in a safe, a secure, and a trust filled relationship.
Yes.
You're going to get to a place like, I've had 50 boyfriends or, partners,
Mhm. Mhm.
and what is wrong with me? That is going to affect you on a
It is.
psychological level.
It is. And the truth is, you're really not giving anything into that relationship.
Right. So you can't see this going anywhere, or at least in a healthy direction,
Mhm.
you know?
It's not healthy. But the truth
No,
is, we have some people out there that are in that kind of predicament and they
it's
still need
true.
help in
It's
order
true.
to do that. What are some of the tools that we can use to help to recover from a heartbreak?
Right. Oh boy. There's a lot. There's a lot. So I had used the analogy of climbing a mountain in the book, and I didn't realize actually how much effort a climber puts into accomplishing their goal.
Hmm.
There's a lot of pre-work done before the actual climb. And so just like how you go to the dentist is set up as a maintenance plan so that your teeth don't rot out and fall out,
Right, right,
So it's the same kind of concept, is that if you invest in the pre-work, before or after relationship, but
right.
it's continuous. That is a good place to start. So your intention may be, okay, I want to get into a relationship
Hmm.
um, down the line. So right now, not only is, okay, let's just do it on the surface level. Do you look the way that you want to look? Do you
Hmm.
feel the way that you want to feel? Right? Are you investing into education and knowledge pertaining to your emotions, your traumas? What does a good relationship look like? That's a conversation.
Okay.
I know for myself, I didn't know what a healthy relationship looked like. There was lots of divorce and single parents in my family.
Right.
So I had to now outsource information to prepare me for what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also, you go to that therapy. You could be in a good place and still go to therapy.
Right. Right.
For some people, you may not be in the position to where you can afford therapy. One thing that I enjoyed doing was taking those personality quizzes, like the Enneagram, not, like answer 5 questions and ta-da, this is you. No. um right, you may pay like a $20 or $50 or whatever, but it's a full detailed assessment, like the Roth, right? And so I like to use those tools because I was able to connect and say, oh, these are my skill sets, because now it's putting language to what you do
Right.
and to who you are, so you're better able to articulate, right? You become more self-aware. um, Finding a community that doesn't, or I should say, find yourself a community or a circle that is, I guess, where you want to go. So if you want to be married one day, maybe you should have some married friends,
Right.
right? So that you can glean from. So there's
Healthy.
you, yeah,
Healthy marriage
this is
friend.
true. That is true. Yes, yes, that is true. Yeah, but there's so many small practical things that we could do right now. Just, you know, yeah, having a self-care routine. Are you going to bed on time? Are you waking up on time? Are you eating healthy?
Hmm.
Right? So, before and even after a heartbreak, that's always something you should have in your toolkit. And if you can't find it around you, just within your environment, then invest in programs that can be that gap filler until you get the community, the friends that are going to hold you accountable.
Hmm. So after using these tools to recover, how can we now rebuild ourselves?
By using the tools. Yeah.
All right. So why I say that is after we use the tools, right? We use the
Yes.
tools to rebuild ourselves and say, okay, these are what I want for myself, etc., etc.
Hmm.
Sometimes even after using the tools, we are afraid to go back out there
Oh, yeah.
because we do not want to put ourselves back in the same situation that we were
Hmm.
in. Yes, we use the tools, but sometimes we're not confident in saying, but am I ready? Sometimes we'll never be ready because being ready again means putting ourselves back in there. So
Hmm.
we can use all the tools that we want to, but when it's let me tell you, the theory is okay, but the practicality is not always okay to do. It's just like class. Sometimes we can sit down and we get the theory and we're acing it. When it's time to go out there and do the practical aspect of what we have learned, sometimes we're not good at it because we're still afraid. We're okay to sit and write and jot and get the information. But no, when it's out there, do I dress up myself and go out by myself on dates? When no somebody comes and approach me, am I gonna? I'm not sure if I can trust this person. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Sure. Yes, I totally get it. And that's the thing too, right? Because everything that I just shared pertained to self. It pertained to you. It talked about you. It amplified you. It gave you value. It gave you worth, right? And so just doing those things is naturally going to boost your self-esteem, your
Okay.
image. And so once you get to that place, you're going to feel somewhat ready. You always get, sometimes you feel like you get that spark, like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to step out. I'm ready to try again. And I would say then the next step would be to do it small and give yourself grace.
Okay.
And why I say small is because you have not jumped and, swam with the fishes for a while.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you don't want to deflate all of the work that you just put in.
Okay.
So I remember something that I did. I would go to a different coffee shop in a different city
Mm.
because I would rather see people that I don't see on a regular basis. And if
Okay.
I embarrass myself, and that's okay. I'm not going to see you again.
Right.
Versus stepping out in my city and then, oh gosh, I just bumped into you again. I'm so
Oh
embarrassed,
God.
right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes. So I started small like that. I also just said, you know what? Today I'm going out with my friends. I am going to say hi to one person, one man. So if he looked good to me, I'm not out here trying to date him. I just want to learn to give compliments. I just want to
Mm.
start the process of being approachable and approaching people, others,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So I started small, and that built up my confidence to then go full force.
Hmm. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, I had to start small because I was like, okay, you know what is so funny? So sometimes I would read the headlines, like
Uh-huh.
on the newspaper or like on my iPhone. It would say, oh, iPhone news or whatever. And if I went out with a girlfriend, um, and I see somebody, I would just approach them. It's not about looks or anything like that. I just want to practice. And so if I saw a guy or a group of guys, I would say, "Hey, like, did you guys hear about this? I want to." Yeah,
I don't even know if that's starting small,
yeah,
to be
yes,
honest with you.
yeah. But you know what? If the conversation stretched, I didn't prepare, so that's what I would walk away. I started small. There, I made sure. Okay, today I'm going to just do one thing. I'm going to say hi to one person. I'm going to
Okay.
compliment one person. Yeah, and then I built that up until.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh Lord, is there really someone out there for me that we can? And it's not me. I'm
Yeah,
already married. I'm
yeah,
signing up for people out there listening.
yes. I think so. I think
Because
so.
why I asked, the persons out there are saying that dating people is hard. It's hard to find
Mhm,
persons, um, and people that actually fit or align with you or what you want.
mhm.
And everybody have flags running around, red flags, green flags, brown flags. Well, people just have flags everywhere, and it's just hard. It's just hard to date. And I mean, yes, you put yourself out there, so you go out and say hi to somebody, then it starts. Then you probably see something. Oh, maybe that's a red flag. It's hard. Like, is there really
Yeah,
someone out there for people?
yes, absolutely. So you know what? I would say this. So one thing that I did do was invested in a community. It was like a coaching program, and it was not necessarily how to date,
Mhm.
um, but it helped kind of redefine the conversation around dating, especially for believers. What does the Bible say about dating? Because all of us heard, the different conversations coming from church, which isn't aligned, right? Conversations that come from church, sometimes it's only to stay looking, proper in front of the
Right,
eyes
right.
of other
I
people,
understand.
right? It's like, oh, you like each other, get married. What kind of foolishness is that,
Exactly.
right? So what I had to do, and I tell a lot of my clients too, is that you got to redefine a lot of these conversations for yourself. Why do you want to get married? Because if getting married is your end goal so that you can feel valued and worth, then there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
True.
Because,
Ah, I like that. I like that.
right. And, what were the conversations that was pushed on you about dating, especially as believers, right? I remember I was 16 years old in youth ministry, and I put every single, Proverbs 31, any wife scriptures on my wall, memorized it,
Huh.
because the goal was get married, right? It was like that's when life, quote unquote, began.
Oh.
And when I step back now in my adult years, I was like, this is all wrong. Instead of putting up marriage scriptures, I should have been posting scriptures about my identity. Who does
Yes.
God say that I am?
Yes.
Because being partnered with someone does not give me identity.
Oh gosh.
Right?
Listen
You
to
said it in
me.
the beginning, is we're not coming as two halves. We have to come in as
Mm-mm.
two wholes. And if we
Exactly.
go back to the very creation, right? Um, God did everything with intention and with purpose. And so, what is the purpose and what is the intention behind getting married? Is me
Yes.
and my partner just going to get together so we can have sex and not feel judged?
Ah.
Or is my partner and I going to actually do things for the kingdom? What is my calling and what is his calling? And do they complement one another? Do we
Hmm.
have a vision for the kingdom? Right? Because our partnership together should bring heaven here on earth.
Mercy. No money preaching no.
And
I am
so, yeah.
I'm excited about that fact and what you said because listen, too many of us are getting married because we want to, oh, I want to be doing this with my partner every minute, going out having fun, talking, he's gonna be my half, she's gonna be my half, we're gonna, and as I said earlier, the church also sometimes will, from two people like each other, well, they need to get married now.
Hmm.
And this is why we have such a high rate of divorce because persons that were put in to get married just liked each other. They weren't supposed to be married to each other. And
Hmm.
we also have to remember that not because we like someone means we have to marry them because they probably are there for a reason, a purpose,
Right.
not to be married to for a lifetime because
Right.
they cannot help to fulfill it or to help you with the purpose or to be aligned with you with the purpose that God has in store for you. Um, and I've said it, I've also written a book in terms of divorce because I have been divorced. And I've also written a book in terms of someone saying to me, hey, not because you helped that person or not because that person needed you means no, you need to marry them. You don't need to marry your help. You don't need to marry the person you have helped also.
Ooh. Ooh.
Aye, and that
Yeah.
for me struck a chord because I'm like, man, that would have probably saved me almost 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
you
Me
know,
too.
so I'm like, man, someone said this to me recently. They got married and hoped that their marriage should have worked because of what they have seen. And I have to keep on reminding people. People aren't out there telling you what's happening in their marriage. You see them happy, but you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So you don't get married also because of what you see or how you see persons behave or how their marriage looks. Because people not generally going out there telling you, no, say, I woke up this morning and didn't like this person. I didn't. Or, that I'm just here tolerating this person. Nobody does that. I've worn a facade before in marriage, so it can happen. Um,
Mhm.
so we're generally not supposed to even look what we're seeing and say that's what we want. We need to know exactly why we want to be married, and we need to be okay and happy being single first before we decide to be with someone. If we're not happy by ourselves, how can we be happy with someone?
Absolutely. And in a marriage, that is when your flaws and your insecurities are amplified,
Listen to me,
right?
man.
But yeah, like everything you just said there touched on so much important things. And, back to one of the tools by taking those personality quizzes is that they do talk about where you're not so strong, right? Just based on how you answered. Where are you not strong?
Mm-hmm.
So, something that I did as well was I I went in to understand my emotional intelligence, right? Because you touched on it, is sometimes people are not to be your husband, maybe they are to be your friend for that
Exactly.
season, or they are your assignment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or there is something that is in you that stirs up in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Iron sharpens iron. So
Right.
we understand that, but then it all comes back down to relationship. What is relationship? Who is teaching us relationship?
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody is. Actually, nobody is. I
Right.
haven't been to a church where they teach about relationship and they teach about marriage. I have not. I mean, the listen, I think churches, yes, we spend time on preaching the word or whatever, but I mean, we also need to teach about relationship and good marriages and how to value relationship, how to communicate, how to do these things in marriages. Because if we do that, we'll have less divorce. We'll have less situations of, oh, I'm just going to get married because I want to have sex. We'll have
Mhm.
less of, want to get married because I don't want to be single while everybody else is married. We'll have less of those. We really do need to have more of these things being taught in church. If it is that we want people to come to church and we want people to have a, let me say this, a reflection of how God wants us to be in marriage, we need to teach it.
Yep. And to just kind of hone in on what you just said, because it's so important, is the highest currency in heaven is relationship.
Yes.
Because don't we as believers say, you know, it's relationship, not religion,
Mm. No,
right?
man.
And so if relationship is the highest currency in heaven, then we should be amplifying that voice instead of pushing what culture says, and that is to be an independent woman.
Listen to me, man. We don't want to start on that. Let me tell you, that's a whole different topic of this independent woman
Mm-hmm.
situation because I don't want to start. That's a different topic that I believe that we probably need to have.
Uh, that's big.
That's a huge topic,
Hmm.
and it's destroying a lot of relationships that we want to have.
Yep.
That's something that needs to be broken down. But we're not going to get in there today because we have to talk about that at a different time.
Yeah.
So we have to put ourselves out there by using the tools that you have even suggested to us, and we have to learn to be vulnerable, not to compare also. So when we put ourselves out there and use the tools and we're now more confident, we're going to the next relationship and we have to try to not compare because we can't compare enough because let me tell you, there are some things that are significant to men, there are some things that are significant to women. If
Hmm.
it is that we're seeing the same things or we're seeing almost the same thing in terms of I don't know, just some things that men do generally. We can't say, well, see, I know this was the wrong relationship because
Right.
you're doing the same thing like what the other person was doing. And I'm guilty of doing that. But it's something that we have to learn to not do also because we're going to continue putting ourselves back to where we don't want to be.
Right. Yeah, I I agree. I agree. And I would say one thing is that community base. And if you are a woman, go get some male friends, you
I
know.
keep on, I needed to say that again.
Go get some
Go
male
and get some
friends.
male friends. Don't
Yes.
play.
Yes. I'm
Women
telling
cannot teach women how men are.
right. And that right now my male circle has gotten bigger.
Mm,
And I have learned so much from men.
yes.
It's so crazy because I've got a younger brother. And even some of the things that they tell me, I practice with my brother. So I he had moved in and little things like I don't want to be naggy. So I would do what my male friends told me to do. And you
Hmm.
want to see my brother? I come home and he washed the dishes
Yes. No, it's true.
You know,
No, listen.
because I am applying what
Yes.
I am being. You don't have to be in a relationship to apply
No.
what you are learning.
No, you can learn from them. I mean, my male friends, they have taught me so much. So in terms of even relationships and how even how men are, I
Hmm.
have learned that earlier from them because I've had male friends who are married, especially
Yes.
so they would say, hey, you can't do certain things and expect a man to want to come back. Like you can't force us to do things. You have to
Right.
know how to do it to get a man. Things like that they have taught me and I've taken it. And that's why I've placed so much importance on having male friends. Male friends are important. And I'm talking about just a platonic male friendship.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's vital, it is important, and I'd encourage women to have that. It's
Hmm.
important. Lavika, this is this is an interesting topic. But I want you have a platform also that persons can go on. You give gems, you talk about things. Where is it that we can find you?
Yes. So you can find me on social media at Davika Latoya. I believe my name and all that proper spelling will be
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you could find me on there. And I recently just wrote a book because I wanted to start this conversation, right? Especially for us believers. Um, we need a place to go get authentic, true, right? No sugarcoating.
Mm-hmm.
The real, like, I just bawled my eyes, snot is running down my
Yep.
nose.
Mm-hmm.
The real truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it is still pleasing to God,
Yes.
right? He still loves us. He did not discard us. So I just wrote a book. You can find that on Amazon called Becoming Her. But yeah, that is where you could find me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much,
Okay,
Davika.
thank
I enjoyed
you.
this conversation.
Yes. I'm like, okay, now I'm ready. That was just a warm up.
Yes. Yes. I love having this conversation because there's so many women out there I think who need to hear it.
Yeah.
And who are probably afraid to talk about it.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, thank you. If I can, I would say the hardest part for me was in the very beginning, and that was, I had the idea that I was married with kids, etc., right? Living life, the best way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when things went left, it brought about so much shame that I was so embarrassed. I was so
Yes.
embarrassed.
Yes.
And when I got over myself and I heard the Lord, remind me through his word that he makes all
Things
things
new. Mm-hmm.
work together
Forward. Good.
for his good.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what, God, if I have to look like a fool, I will, just so that nobody else has to go through what I went through.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And so I just want to encourage just anyone that is listening to this, your story could have went left. It does not make you a bad person. It does
Mm-hmm.
not make you less than, right? It does not strip away your value or your worth. um, it actually positions you for
Yes.
miracles and blessings that you have not even thought about.
Yes.
All I did was share my story once, and I've been sharing my story ever since, and it's brought me
Yes.
to this place, and I'm so grateful.
Yes. Yes. And I'm happy that you did that.
Hmm.
I'm happy that you did that. Not because we have gone through things and we probably haven't have, the love that lasts forever with the person who we thought it was means we're failures either. We're not failures. Experience teaches wisdom. So now we know what to do
Exactly.
and what not to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much again, Davika. I appreciate it. And thank you to our listeners of the Unfiltered by Jade. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you.